Hey yo, hey, hey, be a way, oh, hey yo, hey, be a way, oh, hey yo, hey yo, hey, be a way, oh, hey yo, hey yo. Remember me, when the sun comes up in the morning sky. There I will be, soaring with the eagle so high, feeling free.
Back at the start of middle school, I transferred to a new school. A school where I knew almost no one. I was proud of who I was, proud of my culture and identity, especially because I was coming from a school that was highly Indigenous and full of family. Up until the day I heard from someone that I didn't look Indigenous. They commented that I didn't look Native, so they wouldn't believe me. That is when I started to doubt my culture. This is an experience many Indigenous women face. The reason I know that is because of the relationships I have with my family. I asked my sister, Savannah, and cousin, Madison, if they also felt the same way growing up.
Remember me.
Sometimes I don't make being Native the whole part of my identity, just because it helps me build relationships with people before I tell them.
I felt like I was portraying a character that I wasn't every time that I mentioned that I was Native. Even today, I will say I'm Native American and people give me a quizzical look like they don't believe me.
They've got lots of questions, and if we have that baseline relationship, then maybe they'll be more willing to listen when I tell them stuff or when I try and educate them about being Native. Usually it comes out, and usually I tell them.
The question where I hear that never makes any sense to me is like, oh, I'm Native. Oh, how much? It's like, well, that's an odd question. I don't expect you to tell me about every drop of blood that's in your system.
It was really easy to just be white passing, make white friends, and like be around other like light-skinned people, especially since we lived in town. We didn't live on the reservation. It did make it kind of weird when I tried to go to powwows or be part of my culture because I wasn't doing that day to day.
I felt like I wasn't Native enough. Like I was falsifying the idea of being Native. It almost felt like a box I would check when I would fill out like an application for race. What race are you? Native American, and then that was that.
Bayfield School District and Ashland School District in northern Wisconsin have an emphasis on creating an inclusive and diverse student experience. Although these schools have the same ideas and try to have the same practices, it is drastically different in how it is retained and shown in these schools amongst the students. Savannah went to Bayfield High School, which has about 104 students, and Madison went to Ashland High School, which has roughly 650 students.
I went to a small school where, everyone that you went to school with, you were with the same people year after year. People always said like, oh, Savannah, you're friends with everyone, but really it's because like I had Native kids that knew I was Native, and they'd tell the other kids like, no, she's okay. Like, she's our inside out Oreo. She's Native too, but she looks white. So I was friends with the Native kids. I was friends with the white kids. I had cousins at that high school who were also Native, who I met just by going to that high school. And they were also light-skinned and blonde hair and blue eyes. So it was like seeing another person like me who they lived on the reservation. They welcomed me as part of like their tribe and into their cultural practices. And like we just like talked like equals. And I didn't feel othered so much.
There was a quote-unquote race war when I was in high school. It was somehow spread, all of the white kids wear white, all of the Native kids wear black. I had people telling me to wear white. I had a truck of kids that I've known since I was a baby tell me I better be wearing black. And I stayed home because I didn't know what to do. you feel one way on the inside, and then it depends on how other people see you, which also affects your mental health. And it was just so much hate that I didn't know where it came from. And it was me feeling like I deserved it because I was Native American. It felt as if there was a hierarchy with the non-Native kids, then the Native kids, and then me way down at the bottom because I didn't fit into either categories.
In Indigenous culture, family is a huge part of our lives, and the death of a loved one is exceptionally hard. In Ojibwe culture, men and women each have their vital individual roles when it comes to funerals. The women are there to support the family and friends, be a shoulder to lean on, a rock for support. A son, a brother, a cousin, a friend. Jaron Migizi Inini Dihate was someone who was loved by many. Although a door closed far too early on his life, a door that has been cracked for years has finally sprung wide open for the rest of us.
When I felt most in touch with my culture, it was recently when my cousin Jaron passed away.
My brother passed away in January of this year, suddenly. It was a shock to our whole family.
And he was really proud of being Native. So we did as much as we could do to give him a traditional Native ceremony to get to the spirit world.
We had a fire for him. We learned new teachings about how to set the fire, how to pray, and just the strength and understanding from that love that comes with so many people together.
And I was asked to step in and help do a lot of the ceremonies that were really hard to do. And we called on some community members who had done it before to help guide us, and we took care of the body in a traditional way, and we did his fire in a traditional way. And I was the one collecting medicine and restocking the fire and checking on the family. And
I think one of the best traits that I've met in every single Indigenous person is our ability to laugh at ourselves, laugh at our situation, just bring light into dark situations, and then we can all figure it out together. I think Native American women are very strong and intuitive and can figure out those situations, whether it's laugh or love or just standing there to help bring calm and understanding and how to work through it.
Savannah and Madison each have their own rambunctious little families. These kids will all face a world that will question who they are, what their identity is, and it's important for those raising them and who are in their lives to teach them who they truly are, no matter what the world has to say.
I like to be open with them. They know that they're Native, they know that I'm Native, they know that their grandma's Native. But I think it will be hard for them because they're lighter skinned than I am and they're blonder than I am, and they don't look Native. We don't live on the reservation still, and right now we're just white passing.
They are strong Indigenous kids. Nothing can take that from them, and there should be nothing that should make them feel ashamed of that.
My whole family, I think, has started to do more cultural activities. I cook with them. I bring them to my grandma's house or their grandma's house. We go collect medicine together. We put down tobacco. My aunties make them ribbon skirts, and we talk about what it is to be Native.
I want them to embrace their culture for all that it is, and to know that it is something that can't be wiped away.
Indigenous women have always faced so much adversity. Our mothers, aunts, grandmas, and great-grandmas. We have all survived so much that has been thrown at us.
I think it's powerful being a woman who's also Indigenous. Our tribe has a lot of matriarchal power and respect. It's always your grandma or your mom or your aunties who are calling the shots. So I really think it's powerful. And as an adult, I'm more part of my Native community and talking to other Native kids about choices they should be making or trying to be a role model for them. And women do a lot, so they need the bandwidth, money, scholarships to get educated build the resilience, be there for their families. Like, if some woman's working 2 jobs just to make ends meet, she's not going to have the time to teach her kids, or read to her kids, or teach them culture, cook them food. Like, that culture is going to be lost. So they need just the time.
Women should have voices. They should be heard. Children should be heard too, and we shouldn't be belittled. You know, we can be powerful and we can have emotions at the same time, and that does not take away the effect of our words because we're women. You know, you hear a man choking up during a speech and everybody applauds him for it. You hear a woman do it and all of a sudden we're hysterical and shouldn't be believed.
At least in our tribe, the women hold a lot of the respect, but also when things happen, like when colonization happens or when something tragic happens, women are the ones that take the first hit. Like, they're the ones who go missing. They're the ones who are left to pick up the pieces usually. They carry a pretty heavy burden. The women of the family direct the family. And having a strong grandma, a strong auntie, a strong sister, a strong mom, they're the ones that make the change. They raise the kids, they teach the kids, and they're what passing down a lot of the knowledge, at least in my experience. And the culture that they pass on, or the values that they have, will keep continuing on.
It has taken me up until now, graduating college, to start to embrace who I am and learn my culture. I have started to learn that it's okay if I don't have the dark skin. It's okay that I don't have regalia or attend powwows consistently. Being Indigenous isn't about looking the part. It's about learning to love your culture, learning how important Indigenous history is, and that our voices need to continue being heard. It's about learning how important women are in our families. Our language, our traditions, our rights, and our culture as a whole needs to be remembered and advocated. We need the world to know that we Indigenous women are here, we are strong, and we are resilient.
Angel Eagle, come on down from the heavens just to help us on our way on. They come to teach us, then they leave us to find some other soul to save. Angel Eagle, come on down, hear our drums, because I need you now. Hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh. Hey, way, 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 oh, way, hey,